All right, when I first found this neighborhood, I noticed that a lot of trees had fallen over. It looked like a huge storm had hit that place. And I thought it was odd because it hadn't happened in the surrounding area. It was only kind of like in this isolated section. And when you get up to this neighborhood, which is Tolman Pond Road and Nubanusit, you'll find that all these trees have been knocked over. They've been pulled up by their roots. So what I also saw in the area was there are a lot of these small cottages or cabins that are on these people's properties who have these large houses. And I've never seen that. I've never seen somebody with a large, expensive summer home and a little cabin they'll put on their property. The only time I have seen something like that was in Troy, on Tolman Road in Troy. And they had a shed with a fold-down cot inside it on the outskirts of their property. So I thought that was very odd. So I instantly thought of that. And I wondered if there wasn't some real rich people that were renting these large houses, and then they'll have their little slave quarters nearby. These little cabins that would be on the property. And I could guess that they do this for programming people or breaking people or through child abuse. I don't know why else you would keep a shed with a tiny cot in it on the outskirts of your property. It looks like a prison cell. It doesn't look like a cabin. So that came to mind as soon as I saw these little cottages. So I guess they rent these larger lake houses out because they make a point to have all these signs up there telling people where certain camps are or certain lake houses, and they all have their own little yuppie names to them. They have their own little names. So it seems like they're in the practice of renting these lake houses out, and for some reason these people that rent these lake houses out need these tiny cabins on the outside of their properties. So I went around the area videotaping every cabin I could see on the property that could be used for this purpose. And you can see this one cottage that's across the street from this larger house, and it has all these trees that have fallen all around this cabin. I couldn't see too well, but it looked like the cabin was still intact. So I thought they must have lucked out not to have their cabin destroyed. What is also found in this area are all these construction equipment, these excavators. Now I guess it's not too safe to do, but a few people in New Hampshire have mentioned that they use these excavators to knock over trees. So I also found this field area. It was gated off, and there was a sign that had fallen on the ground, and I glanced at it at the time, and it said, if you're having a medical emergency and you can't get to a phone, just start honking your horn 9 times and keep on doing that until one of the neighbors hears you and then comes out. So I thought that was a little unusual for them to have a sign out there like that. I couldn't see how big the field is, but I guess that was an area that they could bring campers in and park them over there. But it's kind of a remote area, so I didn't really think too much about it at the time. But now that I read that document, it gets more and more strange. It seems that inside of that plastic bag, there was some sort of sign that you fix to your door, they say. So I don't know how many people are getting these packets, but it says if you are in one of these houses in the area, if you've rented one of these houses, I guess, and you're having a medical emergency and your cell phone doesn't work, the landline phone does not work, you're supposed to go out and attach a sign to your door. And if you could safely get to your car without being hit by a tree, you're supposed to get to your car and start honking the horn 9 times. Then you wait 2 seconds and then you honk your horn 9 more times. And that's supposed to signify 9/11. So when you think about this, this is absolutely insane that they would have people doing this. And then of course, there's a whole list of first responders that live all in this area. and they'll come marching out of their house when they hear people honking with signs attached to their door, and they'll take good care of you. So I want to know, how often do they have their own little private monsoons in this area, and all these trees that fall down around little cabins and so forth. And this happens so frequently that they have instructions that they give to people. If you're renting a cabin in the area and you're stuck in one of our many monsoons and trees are falling all around you and you're having a medical emergency and your cell phone doesn't work and the landline doesn't work, then you're supposed to hang a little sign on your door and start honking the horn a bunch of times, and then the people that live in the area are going to come show up and they'll take good care of you. And if you continue watching this series, maybe some of you will guess what type of people live in this area. And then they can have their little guys, cut through some of the trees and get them all set to kind of fall in certain areas. And then in the next storm, they can push a few of them down, scare the people out of their homes, and then march them into one of the areas that you'll see later on in the series. Alright, if you notice, there's a man named Matthew Tolman listed on the volunteer coordinator list. So Matthew Tolman is listed on Nubanusit Road. Then there's this row of mailboxes where there's 2 Tolmans. And one is listed on High Mowing Road and the other one on Brickyard Road. So this is a popular name. So I'll have a map in the next video. I didn't have time on this one. So this is kind of like toward the end of Tolman Pond Road here. And of course, Tolman Pond Road is not to be confused with Tolman Road in Troy, New Hampshire. Regardless, it is a popular name. If you continue down that road, you'll see a Cabot Road on your right hand side. And I'll have a map. But Cabot Road kind of cuts right through the middle of this neighborhood here. And up on the left, there's a Marycone Road. And it's a rural road, and there's only one building on it here. And it appears to be an apartment building if you look on the side of it. But when you look in the front looks like an entirely different building. It's painted on the side. It has white siding on the side and brick. But in the front, it's this ugly exposed wood there. And it looks like a beat up building from the front. And then on the other side, you'll see it has a porch in front. Looks like they have a satellite dish, sliding glass doors, and it looks like it's in better shape. So I didn't know if that was an apartment house or what it was, but as you know, I go handing out my flyers. So I decided to walk up to the door, knock on the door, and see if anybody was home. So I saw that some people had been walking through there, so I decided to go up there and knock on the door to see if anybody was home. Hey, how you doing? And what it appears to me is that this building has been designed to appear like different buildings. On the side facing the street, it looks like a warehouse or a disheveled building. But when you're driving up, it looks like an apartment house. And then on the other side, it looks like a nice one-family house with sliding glass doors and a large porch. So I went around the side to see if there was a side entrance, and I seen a sign in the window. And the sign advertised a school. So I looked it up on the internet and I found that it was in Stamford, Connecticut. And it's advertising a school musical. So this is the view of the other side of the building. You can see the large deck, the sliding glass doors, and what's odd is that the siding is cut off, kind of jagged there. But it looks like it's been designed like that on purpose. And I've seen this a couple of different times where they'll paint the building different colors on each side.